Okay, looks like we're live. Yo, yo, what is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR, the ageless wonder, the man Lincoln Clay coming back at you with a nighttime Christmas podcast, if you want to call it that. How's everybody's doing? I hope you all had a Merry Christmas, whether you were on the giving or receiving end. Um, yeah, I'd say I'd had a pretty good Christmas. I got some money and a few other items. So it was a pretty good Christmas, and I gave my son a pretty good Christmas. I put 16 gigs of RAM in his computer. He had 8, and because of that, his computer was not going to meet the minimum requirements for Half-Life Alyx when that comes out in March. So so that was one of his Christmas gifts. I put 16 gigs of RAM in his computer. Bought him a Turtle Beach Atlas Aero Elite headset. It was like $150, and wow, it even comes with like a studio control panel that you download into your computer, and it looks like a mixer. But there's all kinds of settings for it with an equalizer too. So that was and it's wireless, so that was pretty slick. So he definitely liked that, and gave him $50 for rather a $50 Steam card. So he had a pretty good Christmas too. So, but what made today special for me is, I made my rounds normally on Christmas, rather Christmas Eve. We all meet up at my parents' house. We exchange gifts, usually up till 3, 4 in the morning. Fall asleep, wake up in the morning, finish handing out gifts. By then, other relatives are stopping by. So today, I went to my mother's house, gave her gift, left, went to my brother's house, and so I was talking to my brother, and I told him that I wanted my father to see something and it would mean a lot to me. So I said, I want you to take a look at it first and tell me, what do you think this would cause him any problems or not? Because my father is his health is in serious decline, multiple strokes, multiple heart attacks. Um, some of it was self-inflicted. You know, was a heavy drinker, heavy smoker too. So, but he was a hardcore Trekkie. He just didn't take it as far as other people will, whereas wearing the Star Trek uniforms, the Vulcaneers, that kind of stuff. But he was about as hard of a Trekkie you can get without actually wearing the apparel and possessing any of the memorabilia. But one year for Christmas, I did get him a communicator replica, which was a universal TV remote. You flip it open just like the communicators from the original Star Trek series, and punch in the buttons of what channel you wanted to go switch to. Um, Coon, what's up? How you doing, man? Merry Christmas to you. Hope you had a good Christmas, my friend. And I will definitely pass that on to my father the next time I see him. That the YouTube community says Merry Christmas and hello. So so I was a little bit concerned that having my father wear the Oculus Quest headset, um, that it could possibly trigger a seizure or something. I was a little bit concerned about it. So I had my brother try it on, and I said, you don't got to do anything. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. So I put the headset on him and let him see Bridge Crew when the game first starts, and you're coming around the corner of that space station, and then you see one of the ships right there in front of you, and he was impressed by it. He was in awe by it, and he was like, I don't think it'll cost, I don't think it'll cost our father any problems. So he checked it out, and then I let his girlfriend check it out. From there, we monkeyed around with some other things. I let my brother see Vader Immortal on the Oculus Quest, and that got his attention with Vader being this close in his face, and he said, "Yeah, that right there is pretty deep." And I let his girlfriend try Beat Saber, and then one of his friends that we went to high school with, he came over, and he checked out the Quest. Same thing. Showed him the Star Trek Bridge Crew, and he was like, "Man, I might have to get one of these." And so yeah, they were all impressed with it. Now my brother, he loves to be on the opposite side of the fence. If you say it's good, he'll say it's garbage. And if you say it's garbage, he'll say it's good. Just because he likes being on the other side of the fence. So I probably say he probably gave Bridge Crew about a 80%, 75% approval rate, because he was impressed with it, and he was impressed by how big the ship looks. But he seems to think that the ship wasn't in its actual size, even though it was a pretty massive ship. And last time I checked, I never saw anything in the movies or anything in the TV shows or any kind of Star Trek documentation which officially listed how long those ships were. So he felt like these Federation starships are longer than an aircraft carrier, which as of right now, the USS Gerald R. Ford is the largest aircraft carrier in the world. It is 1,106 feet long, and although I've never seen any kind of any kind of Star Trek documentation or any kind of information on TV shows or movies which gives the length of a Federation starship, if I had to take a guess at how long any of those starships are, I'd probably have to guess that maybe one of those ships were about 800-900 feet long, but it's still a sight to behold to see it in VR. So, but for the most part, he thought it was pretty cool. He was more impressed by the Vader Immortal versus the Star Trek Bridge Crew. So we hung out there for a little while, and then from there we went back to my parents' house. By then, my youngest brother had got there. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention it while I was at my brother's house. I also showed him the Next VR app of how I watch basketball games in VR, which he thought that was pretty cool. He said he would still prefer to watch a game flat screen, but he still thought that was pretty cool to be able to see a game in VR. So then we took the Quest over to my parents' house. We went back over there. My youngest brother was there by then, and hey, Andre 6K, I appreciate it, man. Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. So we took the Quest back to my parents' house. By then, my youngest brother was there. So same deal. I said, I want Pop to see something, and I said it would mean a lot to me. And that's when I got all choked up. Voice started cracking. I actually started crying. That's like first time I cried in years, and it was the first time that my son ever seen me cry. And so they said, yeah, go ahead and do it. It should be cool. He shouldn't have any problems with it. So I sat down next to my father and said, I want you to see something. So I put the Quest on his head, and he had a little bit of a problem getting the Quest over his glasses. So he just took the glasses off, and he wasn't saying anything, when I showed him the Bridge Crew, but he was just like going like this and just looking. So even though he wasn't saying anything, I know he was amazed by it. So I just, had my arm around him, was just like, you see the Enterprise? And he was like, yeah, and just nodded his head. So that was a memorable moment for me, because I've said this before in past podcasts that if this technology would have been around 30 years ago, I think we might have had a little bit of a different outcome as far as my father goes, because I think he would have been an avid adopter of VR. I think he would have absolutely loved it, and I think that would have become one of his hobbies, and I think he would have put a lot of time into VR just on Star Trek Bridge Crew alone. I think he he was amazed by it, and I think he would have absolutely fell in love with it uh, when he was young. So that was a memorable moment for me. And then so after about 5 minutes of going around the Enterprise, then I let my youngest brother try it, and he said he was like, "Man, this is crazy." Oh, excuse me. And then same deal. I showed him the next VR and showed him the basketball games in VR, and he was blown away by that too. So, speaking of which, um, I had said last time that in my last podcast I had typed my Oculus username in the chat, which I could do it again. So I invite anyone who has an Oculus Quest to send me a friend request because Saturday night, I believe Saturday night at 8 o'clock, there will be another NBA game in VR. And I believe it is the Los Angeles Lakers. And I can't remember who they're going to be playing against, but it is going to be a Lakers game in VR. And so if anybody has an Oculus Quest, I invite them to send me a friend request and join me to watch the game in VR because you can watch the game with other live people, and it's a pretty cool experience. So I think at the conclusion of this podcast, once Lincoln showed my mom PSVR and she got sick. Well, I can't exactly say that I'm surprised because when I showed my brother's girlfriend the Star Trek Bridge Crew, she did feel a little bit woozy. She didn't have any problems with Beat Saber, but yeah, Bridge Crew made her feel a little bit woozy. So I'm sorry to hear that your mother got motion sick. Because for those that are apprehensive about VR, in fact, those who are looking for a reason to reject VR, motion sickness is it. If they had their mind made up that they didn't like VR and they were just trying it out and going through the motions just so they can shut you up, if they try it and they get motion sick, it's like that's it. I'm never trying it again. So, um, so yeah, it's unfortunate that your mother got sick, Coon. Um, I hope she's willing to give it a try again. Not that I would expect her to buy it, especially if she's older than me. I wouldn't expect her to be, in the video games, but hey, hope she gives it a try again. So maybe then, hopefully, the next time we'll go better and she won't get sick. What game did you show her, Coon? You said she got sick. What game did you show to her? Ooh. So pretty much just like that, I'm out of stuff to talk about. Um, I don't think I posted on Twitter in a couple of days. I've already spoke to the impact that I think VR is starting to have. Um, I know what else I know what else I can quickly talk about. No Man's Sky. Um, okay, I can probably see where that would make her sick. See, in the beginning when VR was in its infancy, I think full locomotion was available back then, but I think a lot of developers was opting for teleportation as the method of travel um, because less people were getting sick from teleportation versus full locomotion. So for somebody that's never tried VR, I could probably see where No Man's Sky could make them sick, depending on what part it was, whether it was them moving along the terrain or whether they were actually inside a ship and leaving the planet. Little unfortunate, but other than your mother getting sick, did she think it wasn't an? Did she was she impressed by the experience? Was she amazed by it, or was this like, hey, I'm never touching this thing again? So I'm curious about that, Coon. But while I wait for you to respond, I did notice on the Oculus app, um, Oculus is starting to acknowledge YouTubers who support the Quest. So they know we're here because there is a section on the Oculus app where they'll show YouTubers who have reviewed games on the Quest or, reviewing the Quest itself. And, I've seen YouTubers, he said, I turned off the teleportation, but she didn't know what to expect, but she thought it was crazy. Hey, that's cool. I can accept that. So at least we can say it was an experience that she'll never forget. So on the Oculus app, um, again, there's a section that they're showing YouTubers that are reviewing Quest games or reviewing the Quest altogether. And I've seen YouTubers of the likes of BMF. He's a pretty big YouTuber for the Quest. He's pretty much exclusively Quest, but he's a pretty big YouTuber. I think he's got about, I don't know, I want to say he got about 25,000 subs. Um, Cass and Chari, they've been featured on there. They're uh, a pair of VR centric females. I think they've got around 25,000 subs. Who else has been featured? Mike of Virtual Reality Oasis. I don't know how many subs he's got, but I know it's in the thousands. He's got a lot. Nathy has been featured on there. He's got about 500,000 subscribers. Because in fact, Nathy was the biggest YouTuber that I've ever been in a podcast in. One of the episodes of the VR Link that we did, he was a guest on the show, and again, he's got about 500,000 subscribers. So he's especially when it comes to VR, he's one of the biggest YouTubers out there. So he was the biggest YouTuber that I was in a podcast with. So I thought that was pretty cool. So the whole point of it is 7 degrees of gaming. Merry Christmas, my guy. I see you made a change to your name, so to speak. But it still looks like it's still, keeping with pretty much the basis of the name. So, hope you're having a great Christmas, my friend. So yeah, Oculus is acknowledging YouTubers, that are Quest centric. So I think that's pretty cool. And you know, the Oculus Quest continues to uh, plant its flag, in the video game territory. So it can only get better from here. Um, so yeah, it's been a very merry Christmas for me, and I hope it's been the same for you. Um, I mean, I really don't have much else to say, but it was that was quite the for me. To me, that was quite the Christmas gift to me. That was a gift to me that I was able to show that to my father. I did say before that his health is in serious decline. I don't expect him to be around for a long time, but that is definitely something that I'm glad I got to show him. Because of his declining health, um, he is unable to travel. So there's no way I would have been able to bring him over here to experience. So when I saw that Star Trek Bridge Crew was on the Quest, that was like a no-brainer. I couldn't get home fast enough to purchase this game for my Oculus Quest. And the first thing that hit my head when I saw Quest, the first thing popped in my head was that I will finally be able to show Star Trek Bridge Crew to my father. Since he can't come here, I can take it to him. So, um, quite an experience. And it is a good thing that I don't have video to show it because I was very emotional. I could not fight back the tears. I'm glad I got it out of my system. And this is a Christmas that I'll never forget. So with that being said, that is all I got. Other than saying that I did pick up Boneworks, I played it for about 15 minutes. Seems to be somewhat of an odd game to me. It's one of those weird games where it seems like there's a things going on here and there that you just don't understand. The campaign of it doesn't seem like much of a campaign, but I don't know. It looks like you might work at like a research and development facility where robotics and other things are being developed and tested. And so when you go through this plant, you could easily walk through a display case. Yeah, cool. My father got to live his fantasy. So with that being said, I go back to saying what I said before, that if you're into video games, whatever your favorite game is, I think experiencing that game in VR is the mountaintop. It doesn't get any more realistic without going out and doing the actual hobby. First person shooters, for instance. I think the only thing that gets more real than playing a first person shooter in VR is like maybe going out in the woods and playing paintball, something like that, or actually being in war on the battlefield getting shot at. So, and I think if you love video games, I feel like these are like the four genres where you should want to experience these particular genres in VR. So I think if you love racing games like sim racers, you've got to try it in VR at least once. If you love first person shooters, you've got to experience that in VR at least once. If you love horror games, and that's where VR really, really shines. It doesn't get any better than VR when it comes to horror games. And I think real-time strategy games, if you like real-time strategy games, I think VR is a great way to take that experience to the next level. Because I'm not into strategy games, but if I did want to play a strategy game in VR, it would be Risk, because that's a game that I grew up off of. My father absolutely loved Risk. It is a game that can take hours, even days to play, but I would definitely love to play that in VR. And something else that I think would be pretty cool to play in VR, Monopoly, the board game Monopoly, because I do have I think it's called Monopoly Streets. Impatient Fire, what is good, my guy? Merry Christmas, VR King, Lincoln Clay. Hey, I appreciate that. You know what, Impatient Fire? I appreciate your support. There you go, Impatient Fire. You get a wrench. I appreciate your support. You and Christopher Hart are two of the people that really stood out, who supported me since I've been on YouTube, and I really, really appreciate it. So you are a moderator, Impatient Fire. Whew, excuse me. So I was gonna say I got Monopoly Streets. I think it's Monopoly Streets for the PlayStation, and I really like it. Even though it's flat screen. So when you buy a property and you put a house on it, you get to watch the house be constructed right in front of you, or watch a hotel be constructed right in front of you. And I would definitely like to see something like that in VR, Monopoly in VR. I think that'd be pretty cool. So, and I don't think I really got a chance to finish talking about Boneworks, which is not much more to say than what I've already said. But yeah, it seems like kind of a odd game, and it's kind of a busy game. One thing that what people were saying about the physics of the game is correct. If it's basically so far the few minutes that I've played of Boneworks, if it's not nailed to the ground, you can pick it up. You know, and there's all kinds of stuff in there. You know, you go into a room, you might see, like I went into a break room, and there was like, of all things, a brick laying on the table, spoons, cups. Kuhn, you said I still stand behind Silent Hill in VR. Well, I'll put it to you this way, Kuhn, and I mentioned this to Craig. Hey, no problem, Fire. You know, I appreciate your support. Um, what's up, Spartan God? You know, round table, no doubt about the round table. I missed the round table, and Cold Yogurt, how you doing? Merry Christmas, my guy. Merry Questmas, yeah, you got that right. Um, but I'm looking forward to the round table. I think the round table should be getting out of jail here in a couple of weeks, and so I look forward to us firing those back up. I think I know Thrash has been working a lot. Royal Flush has been working a lot too. So but whenever we do it, I definitely look forward to getting back on the round table. You say bots got you banned. I assume you mean Xbots. But to go, so we fully behind Oculus Quest. I was never against the Oculus Quest. Um, I would still prefer PC VR. You know, I would still take my Oculus Rift S over the Quest because it's connected to a PC. So I'm going to get much better looking games. But the Quest is, I continue to be impressed with how good these developers can make these games look on the Quest, even with it running on a mobile processor, because I guess it's got the Snapdragon 85 or whatever that processor is. It's supposed to be a mobile phone processor. So you got a full standalone headset working off of a mobile phone processor. Um, and these games are looking more and more impressive. Uh, yeah, Spartan God. I guess you could say that. So you should prefer PC altogether. I guess you could say that because now there are some games. It's also a game by game basis, Spartan God, because there are some games that are better to play on the Quest, and there are some games that just there's no way around that you got to play it on PC to get the best experience, to get the best looking graphics, textures, shadows, lighting, and all that kind of stuff. And so, like Beat Saber, especially Beat Saber, now that it's got this 360 degrees DLC, that is definitely best played on the Oculus Quest because you got no wires interfering when you turn around 360 degrees. Pistol Whip, that's another game that is best played on the Oculus Quest because again, no wires. This is a game that requires you to move around, to duck, to step from side to side. It feels like Beat Saber meets the Matrix because you moving around and twisting in all kinds of crazy directions to avoid getting shot. So Beat Saber and Pistol Whip and maybe any rhythm game for that matter is best played on the Quest. But when it comes to games like let me see here. Star Trek Bridge Crew is a good one. I love the convenience of being able to play this game on the Quest, but when I want to see the details, the shadows, the lighting, the sharpness, then I play it on the Rift S. But the Quest is just so much more convenient because You can play it anywhere. You know, I've said this time and time again that, you know, a lot of times I keep my Oculus Quest bedside, and I can easily roll out of bed, sit there for a second, you know, rub my eyes, and then grab the Quest, quick jump on it, and play some quick Dead and Buried real quick, or, you know, Star Trek Bridge Crew, or Arizona Sunshine, whatever game I got in there, because I do have a lot of games in there. Um, you said, Almighty, I'm with Valve Index. Once it arrives, yeah. Let us know. Let us know what that's like, Cold Yogurt and Spartan Guy. You said, imagine Samsung putting their Exynos processor in a VR headset. I think this Qualcomm. I think that's going to be like the next processor that's probably going to be in these standalone headsets. Because you know, like this, people are kind of talking about that right now, and people are, manufacturers are lining up so they can get ready to make their own standalone headset to compete with the Oculus Quest. And I guess like 5 companies are already on board, and I think I might have heard that Samsung might be one of them, and I think one of the I think it's rumored that as early as late 2020, like fourth quarter of 2020, we could easily see another standalone headset competing with the Oculus Quest. So right now, as far as standalone headsets, the Oculus Quest is ruling the landscape. But I don't know how long they're going to be able to hold that title with all these other manufacturers gunning for them. But still, I guess these new headsets that's going to be on the way in the next year or two. I guess this Qualcomm, that's who's going to supply the processor. And Cold Yogurt, you said yes. I've seen the PC VR quality based on checking out PC trailers. Yeah, no question. So, but I don't feel like with the Oculus Quest, this isn't a case of me having to pick one over the other. Right now, I've got the best of all worlds. You know, I got an Oculus Quest. I got the Rift S for my PC, which I think is a very, very underrated headset. I think the picture is sharp. Um, and I got my PlayStation VR, so I got all the bases covered as far as my VR experiences go. Excuse me. Um, and another thing, Spartan got coming up in 2020. All the games that I'm looking for are going to be on PC VR or PlayStation VR, because these aren't games you're going to be able to get on the Quest. Only one of them might be able to get on the Quest. But to give a quick rundown again of the games that I'm looking forward to in 2020, you got Medal of Honor VR, and I think that's might be the only one that could get on the Quest. We've got Iron Man VR, that's going to be on the PlayStation VR. We've got Half-Life Alyx, which is going to be PC VR. We've got Lone Echo 2, which is also going to be PC VR, Oculus exclusive. So what do we got? Medal of Honor, Lone Echo 2, Iron Man VR, and there was I know there was one more that I keep forgetting to mention. So we got Medal of Honor, Iron Man, Half-Life Alyx. God, I'm having a brain fart. But in any case, there's other games that I'm looking forward to, like Lo-Fi. I'm looking forward to that. Cold Yogurt, you said this year VR gaming has exploded. So many games. Sekiro won Game of the Year. The flat games this year was weak. um, That's a little bit of a biased answer because I would agree with you, but mainly because of how much I love VR, not so much because of whether I truly believe that flat screen games were weak this year. I think this year, Days Gone might have been the only flat screen game that I bought, and I barely started it, and I know I'm not going to get back around to finishing it. So, Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us 2 are the only flat screen games that I'm looking forward to. Playing Days Gone, I kept wishing it was in VR. I could say that if Days Gone was not a Sony exclusive and it was available on Steam, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody would have taken that game and given us a VR mod for it. So I'd love to see some of the old classic games get over on Steam, so some of these independent people can get their hands on them, and give us some more VR mods. Because I am definitely curious to see how this Halo Reach mod is going to turn out. You said it was a long game. Played it twice to get platinum. Good lord. I do not have one single platinum. I think I probably got a total of about 470 something trophies, which is not impressive. I think maybe I got maybe like 5 gold trophies. I think maybe I got like 7 silver trophies, and the rest of them are all bronze trophies. But I do not have not a single platinum trophy. So I guess getting a platinum trophy, finishing the game and seeing a good story was more important to me than getting trophies. But I think there was some VR games out there that was only had like 5 or 6 trophies, and it was supposed to have been pretty easy to get the platinum trophy, and I didn't even do that. So Cold Yogurt, do you have a quest along with the Valve Index that you're waiting for? What time we got? 10 o'clock. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna shut this down in about 10 minutes. Um, did you send me a friend request on the Oculus app? Let me. Did you send me the friend request on Oculus or on Steam? Oh, you don't have Quest? Uh, oh, you sent me the friend request on PlayStation VR. You know what? Please do me a favor if you would, and attach a little note to it so I know that it's you, because a lot of people when it comes to their YouTube name and then their PlayStation names, a lot of their names are different. Like me, for instance, when PlayStation allowed you to change your name, I changed my name to Lincoln Clay. My name before that was Money May. In honor of my in honor of my cousin Floyd Mayweather. But that can get a little confusing if I'm Lincoln Clay on YouTube and I'm Money May on PlayStation, and I'm like, send me a friend request, blah blah blah. It was just easier to make my name be the same across the board. So, in one way or another, my name is Lincoln Clay on PSN, on the Oculus format, on Steam, But with Oculus and Steam, my name is Lincoln underscore Clay with a K. So, in fact, I'll go ahead and type it into the chat. So that is right there. That is my username on Steam. That is my username on Oculus. And I believe that is my username on PSN, but it might have the 670 added to it. Because I think just Lincoln Clay like that, the name might have already been taken. So definitely shoot me. You shoot me a friend request. Definitely attach a note to it so I know that it's you. Because I've been meaning to get back to playing some Firewall. And according to Polish Paul, I guess the latest information on Zero Caliber is that it's probably supposed to come in like the second quarter of 2020, so maybe around April, May, June or something like that. But when it does reach PlayStation VR, I guess the player versus player will be live. So already have the game on PC, but I might go ahead and double dip with that game and get it on PlayStation VR. Once they get that player versus player up and going. So with that being said, I think that's about all I got. I'll turn on my PlayStation and accept your friend request, but I think right now, if I do anything, I'm feeling like playing some Boneworks, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to stream it because there was a couple of times I went to grab something within the game, and the game froze for a split second. Coon, you said that you changed the name because Diver got you in the boxing game. Now, Coon, I know you saw that. I know you saw that stream between me and Diver. You know what I did to him. I dismantled that dude. I destroyed him. He did not win a single fight. Now, granted, he did knock me down. And I am man enough to admit that for somebody that didn't really play the game, he fought better than what I thought he did. But he also tried to pull some slick shit too, because he tried to practice the game a little bit before he got in the ring with me. But hey, I got these hands, so he wasn't supposed to win. I got Creed. I got Creed for both PC and PlayStation, but there's a trade-off. If I were to stream the game from PlayStation, I would be able to see you guys, your messages in the chat, but you won't be able to hear my opponent unless they're a friend and I have them, and I bring them into a party chat. Just a random person, no, you're not going to hear what they say. On the other hand, over on PC, you will be able to hear what my opponent is saying, but I still have not figured out how to pop the chat out and place the chat inside the game. I still haven't figured that out, so I'm still doing old-fashioned shit, lifting my head up, reading the TV screen to see the chat. So, but I would love nothing better than to come back to Creed and see people still playing that game. But I hate to say it, it's a very physical game. It takes a lot out of you, and so I don't really see people playing that game. But I absolutely love it. In fact, I think Creed is by far the best boxing game in VR. So, but yeah, I keep on looking at that cute computer and seeing that Oculus app staring me in the face. So, yeah, it's time to go ahead and boogie on out of here and go play something. because I've been here about 45 minutes. So, but I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And let's get ready to ring in 2020. And let's get ready for a great year for VR. And I think with the games that we've got coming up, games that are going to push gameplay and mechanics and physics to the next level. I think 2020 stands to be the best year yet for VR. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. So that's all I got, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff. You guys have a good night. Merry Christmas once again. I hope your Christmas went great, whether you were on the giving or receiving end. And I hope your day was brightened or you brightened someone's day. And we'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. Deuces.